Welcome back to the channel. If you're watching this video, then you're probably either debating whether to pull Mina or you already pulled her and want to know how to play her properly. I'll say it right away. Mina is one of the characters I've spent the most time studying since I started playing MONGIL Stardive. Not just because she's strong, but because of how her kit is designed, the way her lore and gameplay blend together. It's honestly really fascinating. In today's video, I'll cover everything from start to finish: lore, personality, combat mechanics, build, team comps, and meta evaluation. Sit down, prepare a notepad if needed, because there are quite a lot of interesting things to talk about. And I'm only analyzing based on theory since I still haven't pulled her myself. First, let's talk a little about the lore, because honestly, understanding Mina's lore helps you understand why this character was designed this way. Mina is a nine-tailed fox, carrying the bloodline of a divine maiden who serves the god of fate. She comes from the Far East region, specifically Baek-Ah, and her status within beast folk society there is beyond prestigious. She is deeply respected and treated with absolute reverence. But behind that calm and dignified appearance lies a very heavy psychological burden. Mina's mother, Miho, was the previous divine maiden who spent thousands of years in service. And to give birth to Mina, she used all the power she had accumulated throughout her entire life, without marriage, simply sacrificing everything so her daughter could exist. It sounds beautiful, right? But the tragedy lies somewhere else. Because Miho was too devoted to her duty, she neglected to express love toward her daughter. And that emotional emptiness shaped Mina from a very early age. I remember one detail from the lore that genuinely hurt when I read it. When Mina was only 4 years old, she went alone to purify evil spirits. 4 years old. Alone. And the reason wasn't because she was brave or wanted to prove her strength, but simply because she wanted her mother's acknowledgement. A child doing something dangerous just to be noticed by her mother says a lot about this character's psychology. Later, Miho gave Mina a younger sister named Narai in a similar way, sacrificing the remainder of her life force so Mina would have someone beside her after she passed away. That sisterly relationship is not just an emotional element, it directly reflects in the gameplay as well, since Narai is designed as an extremely natural support piece for teams built around Mina. I'll talk more about that later. Now let's move into the gameplay section, which is probably what many of you are waiting for. Mina is a 5-star firefighter. The thing that defines her entire playstyle is the essence system. This is the thing I really want you to fully understand before doing anything else with this character. Essence is a resource that you accumulate during combat. It is generated through normal attacks, especially the 4th hit in her combo chain, and through special skills. When you have at least 1 point of essence, holding the normal attack button activates Luminous Rush, an enhanced attack that deals massive fire damage while consuming essence. On top of that, Mina's dash also consumes essence to automatically close the distance toward enemies while dodging attacks. Mina's combat loop is actually very elegant. Build up, explode, recharge, then repeat. It sounds simple, but at a high level, it's really not simple at all. You have to manage the pacing carefully, don't let essence overflow because it wastes resources, but also don't let yourself run dry when you need to dash in aggressively. Especially in Dimensional Rift, that mobility becomes extremely important for shortening the downtime between enemy waves. Now let's go through each skill one by one. The first skill is Foxfire Orb, which I usually call Fireball. Mina throws an enhanced Foxfire sphere at the enemy, dealing fire damage, and the interesting part is that it pulls nearby enemies together before exploding. It both deals damage and sets up for follow-up AoE attacks, and every use grants 1 essence point. The second skill is Foxfire Blast. Mina throws an enhanced Foxfire orb at enemies and gains 1 stack of essence. The orb deals fire damage while pulling nearby enemies inward, then explodes to deal additional fire damage. This is the mob clearing skill I use the most because its grouping capability is incredibly strong, especially against multiple enemies. Then we have the ultimate, Foxfire Clone. This is the skill that defines Mina's power in long battles. She summons a clone that gathers energy alongside her before unleashing a gigantic Foxfire sphere that deals fire damage along with the fire affliction effect. And the clone doesn't disappear immediately. It stays active for a period of time and mimics Mina's skills while also increasing essence recovery speed from normal attacks. This is why Mina's total damage output in long fights is usually far superior to many other fighters, even though she doesn't have massive instant burst damage. As for her passive, Essence of Fire allows Mina to inflict charm on enemies that have exhausted their own essence. And at C4, this charm additionally reduces enemy DF by 10%, turning Mina into not only a DPS, but also a very valuable armor reduction support unit for the entire team. Talking about Kanto and the Awakening system, I want to clearly explain the important milestones. C1 adds an extra clone when using the ultimate and allows normal attacks after a special skill to chain directly into the fourth combo hit, meaning essence generation speed almost doubles while clone simulation damage increases significantly. C2 increases ultimate charge speed by 10% and instantly grants 3 essence stacks when using the ultimate, allowing immediate burst right after activation. C3 increases skill levels by 2 and reduces special skill cooldown by 4.5%, boosting both base damage and enemy grouping frequency. C4 is the biggest turning point. The clone's stat ratio increases from 30% to 70%, clone duration increases by 5 seconds, and charm reduces enemy DF by 10%. This is the milestone that transforms Mina into a true DPS monster. C5 and C6 continue strengthening her further, especially C6, which increases Luminous Rush damage by 50%, expands its range, and allows more flexible combo chaining. Now let's talk about builds. Mina's build direction is not about stacking everything into one massive burst like some assassins, but instead focusing on stable and continuous sustained damage. The highest priority is fire damage bonus on equipment slots with elemental stats. Next is ATK% because Mina's skills scale directly with her base attack. After that come essence-related stats to make her combo cycle smoother and reduce downtime between ultimate rotations. And finally, crit rate and crit damage become important in the endgame when you need to push through boss HP thresholds within time limits. As for artifacts, if you can afford it, this is honestly a massive power spike. This artifact provides extremely strong fire damage bonuses, like turning her into an absolute assassin against bosses. For team compositions, I've tested many different setups, but my favorite is still the Fire Mono team. Mina acts as the main fighter core, Flare takes the destroyer role for breaking boss stagger bars, and Nare serves as the support. Flare is an irreplaceable piece because of how quickly she melts boss stagger gauges, creating burst windows for Mina to dump her damage into. Flare also applies def reduction and fire effects, creating extremely natural synergy with Mina. Nare, despite being an ice unit, is specifically designed to support fire characters by providing passive shields, healing, and direct damage buffs for Mina. This sister duo honestly feels incredibly deep both in lore and gameplay mechanics. If you don't have Nare or Flare, Mina still performs very well in mixed element teams. I tested her together with Wind Element Jiwan, and the crowd control combo between the two genuinely feels like a black hole. Enemies simply cannot escape. Just keep one thing in mind. You generally should not run two fighters together without a clear purpose because you may lack stagger breaking capability or reduce your burst efficiency. Finally, let's talk about the meta and her performance across different modes. I've tested everything extensively, and the results are very consistent. In world and path content, Mina is the #1 choice for farming resources because of her constant AoE and low setup requirements. You just jump in and sweep everything. In Conquest boss fights, her total damage output is usually superior, thanks to the non-stop clone rotations, even if her instant burst may not match certain assassins during stagger windows. In Dimensional Rift, this is where Mina's mobility truly shines. Her auto-targeting dash significantly shortens movement time, and that factor is absolutely crucial for climbing Rift rankings. Overall, I would place her at T0 across most content, and honestly, I think that rating is completely deserved. To sum it up, Mina is a character with depth in both lore and gameplay. She is not the type of character where you press one button and everything plays itself. But once you understand the rhythm of Essence, understand how to maintain constant pressure, and know when to use the clone properly, She becomes one of the most worthwhile fighters to invest in right now in MONGIL Star Dive. If you're considering pulling her, my answer is yes, especially if you already own Narai or Flare. And if you already pulled her and are watching this video for build advice, then I hope what I shared was helpful. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. I read all of them. Thank you for watching until the end, and I'll see you again in the next video.